We are live. Yo. How is everyone? Let me know if you can hear in the chat. Hopefully the mic is loud enough and you can hear the music. Hope everyone's doing well. I'm here in Berlin and it's a gloomy, drizzly, grey winter's day. So all is good. Nice to be inside. Feeling pretty dusty after a kind of heavy weekend. I was playing a show in Czech Republic with Jabali and James Cole. Really fun, good times. A benefit of living in Europe is that you can take trains. One of the downsides of living in Europe is that you end up taking trains and it takes a while, and they around this time of year anyway, there's like so many delays. So yeah, it was rough getting home last night. Didn't get home till like midnight or something. But yeah, anyway, whatever, that's all right. What I always wondered, do you speak a bit of German? Ja, ich spreche ein bisschen Deutsch, aber nicht sehr gut. Leider. Luca Penza, hello, Novatune. Renica, Adria, hey bro. Doorless House Music, good morning. It's afternoon here, but did everyone see my semi-viral post on Instagram this week? It's had some controversy. Quick recap. I got a copyright strike on one of my videos because it contained someone else's track, which the video was me showing how to make like a track in the style of Max Dean. And yeah, some dickhead went onto Patreon, took the project files and decided to release that as his own track. So yeah, my video got copyright striked, and obviously like that's just I write in a big notice saying important. This is not what do you call it? Whatever. You can't do that. I can't remember the wording. There's a few reasons. Like one, okay, let's say, there's a few hundred people on my Patreon. If theoretically everyone could download those project files and release that track, like that would be ridiculous. But like also you kind of don't gain anything from doing it. Like if you, yeah. It just, I don't know, it's such a short-sighted idea to even, like, but the fact of the matter is, like, it's also something I created. So, like, if someone really wanted to do it, they could contact me and license it or something like that, but it's my intellectual property, right? That said, it's there for people to use. So if you're going to use a bass line or some MIDI or a preset sound or some of the drums, so I've got no problem with that. But when someone takes what I made and like decides to, it's my creative, my intellectual property, and they're going to then say, well, I've downloaded this and now it's my intellectual property. It's not, it's not their creative output. They're just being completely false with the label, with their listeners, with yeah, whatever. I mean, yeah. So I don't know. The post I made kind of blew up a bit. And the dude actually contacted me in my DMs and like, wild. This guy did not give a shit. He was actually really angry at me for calling him out. And he was like threatening me with lawyers and shit. And then like, okay, let me just, I'm still unsure whether or not to post some of these DMs, but like, it's pretty wild. And I feel like I kind of should, like, I just want to kind of leave it, to be honest. Like, the label took his track down, but the fact that the guy was such a dick is like pretty bizarre to me. He wasn't like, oh man, sorry, or I didn't know, or anything like that. He was just like, yeah, so what? That's what I can do, what I want, basically. So let me read you this message that. So this is like kind of towards the end of our conversation, but I said, "You stole my whole creative work and said it was yours. If I buy a track from Beatport, can I add a top loop and call it my own? No, of course I can't." And then his response is, "You are not a producer. You make videos for us. We learn from you and we use your samples to make our tracks. We are the artists. This is the truth. If you want to be a producer, that's another story. If you want to be a teacher, you need to also accept that your student has surpassed you. Have a good evening." And then he said, "The videos you published are used to make tracks. That's what I did, and that's what I will continue to do, so I am right." So yeah, man, this dude is pretty wild. He doesn't give a fuck. Yeah. But anyway, I thought it was like, and this is not me like bigging up myself, but I thought it was pretty funny for him to say like, "You are not a producer." Basically, you know, like telling me to stay in my lane, you know. And I mean, kind of ironic that I produced the track that he released as his own, and he's telling me I'm not a producer. Fuck, I don't know. Bizarre. Anyway, enough of that fucking douchebag. I'm going to post that shit. It's so funny. I'm going to post it. I'll post it tomorrow. Nah, the dude, he's not 16. He's born in 1979. He's an Italian dude. Not that his ethnicity or his, has anything to do with that fact that he's such a fucking dick. There's for the most part, everyone is lovely. Every country, culture, creed has also plenty of douchebags, and this guy just happens to fall into that category. Anyway, enough of Am style. Let's listen to some music. Thanks everyone for sending your stuff in. There's lots of tracks, and we're going to get through as many as we can. So I've got, as per usual, we've got 20 kind of guaranteed to listen to, and then I've got like a wait list of about 10, and we'll get through as many of those in the kind of probably 2 hours or so that we do. Yeah, let's go. to a great start here. This is sick. Yo, Luca, you nailed it on this one. I just had to change the track name. He didn't include his name in the track name, but I had to look it up because he deserves to get some props for this. It's a banger. If I had to give you one, like it's awesome as it is. You could use a bit more limiting. I think I've put about a couple of dBs of limiting. It could probably be pushed even a bit further. Let's say 3 dB here. See how it sounds. Yeah, it just kind of pushes the dynamics a little bit, brings the highs up a bit, makes it feel a bit fuller. So if I would suggest, just putting a bit more limiting on it, on the master. And the only kind of thing that I would think you could probably do is with the piano. Like the piano's cool, but it feels very kind of dry. It fits the mood of the track and stuff, but there's some really cool functions in Ableton now. Let me just, sorry, my mic's in the way, so I'm trying to see my keyboard. With the MIDI stuff, if you, let's just say, I'll just make a, I don't know. Let's just say this is your chord. And you can always use that, the thing I love, this MIDI device, add some random, so it randomizes the velocity a bit, and then you just kind of tune that in until it sounds randomized, but it sounds like humanized, but not too crazy. And then you can grab here and go humanize, and it just shifts the MIDI notes. So if, let's say you've got your chords, I'll just undo that. I'm just going to say that it's like this for the sake of it. Okay, just for the example, you've got one bar, right? So you could do that and humanize it for here, but what's going to get you better results is if you like duplicate the MIDI out, to like, I don't know, it doesn't really matter, but just doing a few more. And then you humanize all of those. So then each one is kind of slightly different. And as long as the plugin is able to pick up some velocity, then, like when someone is playing the piano, that there will be like little micro differences between the timing that they press each key. So just doing things like this. I used to do this whenever I put pianos in my tracks by hand. And it's you want it to be subtle, but it really does make a difference, especially when something's looping over a long period of time, like it is in your track with the pianos are there for most of the time. I think it will just make it sound a bit more, kind of humanized. Another thing you could do is like duplicate the piano and pan one left and pan one right, and you want to be careful of phasing there, or use some chorus or something on it. Just make it sounding a bit more stereo. But anyway, that's I don't know, it's a cool thing that I like doing. Again, it's a really tiny suggestion, but the track is sick, so congratulations, Luca, and get it out there, man. Send out some demos. Your stuff has really leveled up over the last kind of 6 months or so. And the chat seems to be in agreement. I think what I would do with this is with that, I'd put just a bit more kind of delay and reverb on that vocal, give it a bit more atmosphere and a bit more vibe. It's also going to kind of like, when the delays are trailing off, it's just going to kind of make that element last a little bit longer. So so it's kind of, there's less space between each one of them, if that makes sense. Where are we here? Right, that sound there, it kind of like, it's a bit dry, this layer on the bass, or it sounds like really I don't know, it's hard to describe this. It just sounds like really kind of basic, as like a basic preset. I think the sound you had sounded way cooler before you put the layer on top. It sounds very 90s, 2000, but like in a way, because the production level was so simple then. So someone might not have had like a reverb unit or something. But yeah, it just, I don't think the sound is great, to be honest. This very resonant kind of lead sound has the same problem for me. I don't think it sounds a bit, yeah, it just doesn't sound that cool to me. It sounds just a bit like a weird preset. And you've got quite a few synth sounds now that have got quite a bit of resonance, are quite open. It kind of takes, when you've got a lot of those kind of sounds happening at the same time, it kind of takes the emphasis off each one. So you'd be better off if you're going to use them to like maybe interchange them rather than keep stacking them on top of each other. Like here, it really sounds like a kind of old 90s kind of rave track, but a little bit cleaner. Whereas here, it kind of sounds a bit more modern, in like a modern retro inspired house track, if that makes sense. I think, yeah. Also like kind of, so where it starts and where it ends up, like you're kind of like building the whole time, whereas you probably want to have, yeah, a bit more of a peak and then some more of an outro. Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely got potential. I think I would work on the sounds a bit and maybe the arrangement, like it kind of, it's quite stripped back for quite a bit at the start. Maybe you could like introduce that theme, the vocal theme, a bit sooner, or a bit, just maybe with a bit more detail, like some chops, some delays. Maybe make some like little fills out of some chops or something. I like the little breakbeat that you've added in there. It's cool. But maybe the breakbeat could come in sooner. I mean, you can definitely use all of those sounds in modern house music. I think it's just a little about adding a bit more modern production flair to it. Mr. Mirage. Let's see how we go. High expectations, as always, for Mirage, and they're normally exceeded, so let's go. I feel like that vocal pad came in a bit abruptly for the style of the track. I reckon you could like just, I mean, it's a subtle thing, but filter it in from like over 8 bars from here. Nice guitar sounds, that's really cool. It feels a little bit like you've kind of built it up with quite a lot of atmosphere and stuff here before the break, and then it drops back without a lot of the atmosphere. It felt a little bit like anticlimactic. Maybe you could, I don't know, maybe bring in a new element, or maybe if you're going to strip away some of the atmosphere, add in some kind of percussion element, a tambourine, shaker or something, just to give it a bit more drive. I feel like the track itself in general, if it had just a little bit more of kind of like some kind of driving synth sound in it, it could be really cool for like a deeper progressive label like Sudbeat or Meanwhile or something like that. Yeah, in general, really cool. The only bit that I thought could be improved was this bit after the drop here. Everything else really, really, really good. And that pad I mentioned at the start, but much respect to Mirage. Always impressive to hear what he's up to. This one looks hot. In these like little breaks like this, I would always try and, so you've kind of like taken out the low end and then you've got some fills and some couple of little effects sounds or something, but everything else kind of stayed the same. So I would always try and do something a little, try and go that little extra 10% or something, you know, maybe take out a few more of the drums, filter something, add in, you know, a subtle like little rising pad in the background or something like that, just to kind of emphasize that and create a little bit more tension and release. Like it just feels a bit flat. Yeah. You've got this like kind of glitchy vocal loop. I think like rhythmically it works for the track, but I think like it might be better off without it. The sound is just a bit odd to me, and it might just be a taste thing, but I would try muting it and see how you go. It might be better without it. This like synth that you've brought in two things there. One sounds like a telephone kind of tone, I guess, with the caller ID track name, but you've got this other one that's like, is it playing eighth notes? Like dun, 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 dun. Having both of those drop in there at the same time, they're fighting for space. Like I think if the caller ID, I imagine there's going to be I don't know, like some kind of voicemail vocal or something coming in maybe. But if that's the theme of the track, then I would double down on that and make sure that any element to do with that theme is really prominent. Like this doom, 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 sounds like a dial tone or something. I guess that's meant to be that way. So I would, but it's kind of getting lost in the mix because you've got another synth that's pretty similar sound and like a really similar frequency. So I would just drop that more repetitive eighth note synth. Again, I don't think that eighth note synth is doing your track any benefit after the drop there. Like I can't hear the bass line. I can't. It's just a bit chaotic. It feels like. And this kind of tone thing is rhythmically, it's kind of, it feels a bit disjointed from the track, this new tone that's come in. There's some cool elements in there. I guess I was wrong about the vocal. Yeah, there's some cool elements in there, but I think you really want to go through and like thin it out a bit, take out some of those elements that are conflicting with other elements, and just really double down on whatever you think is the main elements of the track. It's always really really beneficial if you have like elements kind of interacting with each other, so they're kind of all following the same groove or the same like kind of patterns and stuff like that, or playing off of each other, so they're kind of like creating syncopation between them. But if there's like a bunch of elements just kind of doing their own thing in the track, it can sound a bit like chaotic. This is sounding really solid, Dos. I think, like, so is this a break here? This is a break. So you've got like 16 bars intro, 16 bar break, 16 bar drop, and then another 16 bar break. I think in terms of an arrangement, that's a bit heavy on the brakes. I would probably like keep that going through here, and then you could have like a mini break or something for 4 bars, or I don't know. Okay, I see what's happening. Yeah, I think you could kind of, this break section, I see, it's cool that you're trying some different things, but I think you kind of like lost the momentum of the track a little bit in this section. I would just try to, it's like from here to here, is a natural increase in like, and develop in energy and development of the track, but this bit in here is not really adding to that. So I would just try and build up from here to here in a more natural way. Just keep the energy rising. You could, so when you drop into here, you could take out maybe most or all of the hats and stuff, and then it's gonna focus a little bit more on these ethereal melodies that you've got coming in. Yeah, I would definitely do that. You could, if you didn't want to take them, I would take them out fully, and then you could maybe like bring them back in here, but with some of the highs filtered out a little bit, like, you know, just do this on like if you have a hats group or something, and then yeah, again, so I think this is just sounding a bit chaotic, like you're not giving enough space for the like vocal and stuff, and then these hats are really prominent and they're kind of coming in and out. Great drop. Yeah, so I think like basically like just simplify the arrangement a little bit in this bit, and then also kind of, I think everything is there in the break, but maybe you just need to kind of rethink what you're trying to do. I think it can be quite easy to get caught up in doing just in like kind of doing stuff like, oh, in a break I need to do this, I need to do that. But if you kind of try and take a step back and think about it in terms of like, what are you trying to say, what emotion are you trying to create, or what's the main element that you want people to be focusing on at which time, and then you can think about how to do that from a production standpoint. But I think having those kind of, like a more broad, higher level idea of what you're trying to do will help you to then implement it, rather than it kind of feels like here you've produced it and then like made it and then it is how it is. I could be wrong there, but yeah, I would just try to like think a bit more about what you want to emphasize and to kind of create a bit more drama and a bit more tension and release in the break. But like the sound design and the production of the track sounds really, really good, man. So well done. Another regular submitter to the live streams, and his production has been going up really well in the last few months. So good stuff, bro. Christopher, could it be that I have seen you near Ostkreuz, Sonntagstraße? Yes, it could well be. That's my hood. It's probably absolutely certain that you did. First of all, this sounds really, really good. I like it. Really fresh, using the, I don't know, is it like UK trap or grime vocal or, anyway, whatever. It's bloody good. This weird thing you've done here where you kind of had this one verse happening, and then the next verse, the next part of the verse came, or next phrase of the verse, sorry, came in like with the volume down, and then you kind of built the volume up. We ain't like them, never keep it real in the ends, never leave crib or the ends. Me and that. Good try at doing something different, but it just kind of like takes away from the vocal, and I think the vocal was you want it when it's playing, you want it to really be the main focus here. You could do something if you want to kind of separate it there and create some kind of cool effect, like something that they do in like hip hop tracks is put like a filter on it, like a telephone filter or something like that. So you could do something like this. We ain't like them, never keep it real in the ends, never leave crib or the ends. Me and that kid, we don't even need to pretend. Me and them boys, we ain't friends. But I would say just keep it as is. kind of like somewhere here, I'm kind of like wanting an open hi-hat or something to come in. That could just be me, but
how did it get so? How did it get so? Summer till it get so. How did it get so?
Yeah, I think this could really do with an open hi-hat. It doesn't have to be a big long one, but with just something to give it a bit more drive. Having the kind of having the like less or not many hi-hats, and the kind of snare groove thing makes it sound it's a bit reminiscent of like mid 2000s, like kind of 2009, 2010, maybe a bit earlier, kind of when Swedish House Mafia started blowing up. Like a lot of the tracks that were big in that early EDM kind of phase they had that kind of thing, like not so many hats and really like lots of snares and stuff going on. It kind of feels a bit weird. Maybe that's just for me, but I would like some hats in there.
How did it get so? How did it get so? How did it get so? Summer 20, galley on me. Mad shots, parties all week. Sweet one pushing on me. Slave to the scene. How did it get so big? We ain't like that.
So that's pretty much the exact effect that I was talking about before on the vocal.
Never leave crib where the ends. Me and that kid, we don't even. We ain't friends. We ain't friends. How did it get so?
So yeah, I think everything's really cool. It's a great kind of concept for the track. Really cool. I just would like some more hats and a bit less of this. I think with this kind of snare groove thing that you've got going on there, if you kind of had it coming in and out of the beat and just a bit more of a kind of regular house beat. There's a track, Dixon remix of something. Let me try and find it. What's it called? Let me find it. So I think it could be worth referencing. It gives me the same vibe. Is it this? Wait a minute. Yeah. This here. Wait a minute. Dixon extension. Let's play it. If we can. I think this should. So it's kind of got these synths and vocals and stuff, so synths and snares and stuff doing the same rhythm, and it's kind of building up. So I think you could reference this a little bit, but maybe this has also got a stripped back beat, but just with a bit more emphasis on the open hi-hats. Yeah, that would be my main suggestion. But again, that could just be a taste. If you don't want that, then I think it's pretty good as it is. Mr. Adria Falco tells me that this is something a bit more on the deep tip, so let's see. kind of want want a bit more in the hats in this as well, just like maybe a shaker or something in the background. Just feels a little bit empty for me, for my taste. And with the style of the style of the bass line and how kind of heavy the bass line is. It just makes it without any kind of groovy, shuffly kind of hats. It kind of makes it feel a bit robotic for me. So yeah, I would bring that in a bit faster. Also with this up, gives it a bit more kind of, because it's got a different rhythm to the bass, it gives it a little bit more swing or a little bit more shuffle or something. I don't know. But yeah, after that drop, it kind of felt like it all came together a bit more. I'd probably repeat the first part of that motif there when you drop out the kick. I think you could maybe implement the vocal a little bit more. I think you've only used it a couple of times. Maybe there was another little break where it's going to happen here. Maybe here. Yeah, I think I really like the vocal. I think it's cool. I like how you haven't got it happening too frequently, but I think you could maybe use it or implement it a little bit more frequently. But so it's 3 times I think it played. But all in all, really solid track, bro. Well done. Not quite as deep as I was expecting. I'd say it sounds relatively peak time, but I'm struggling to hear exactly what it is, but you've got a bunch of samples in here that sound quite disjointed. I think they're just not. I think like that. Yeah, you've got the saxophone. You've got this like it sounds like a loop from a soul or disco track or something. Sounds like there's kind of too many different things doing their own thing. Like I think the vibe of each of those things works well together, but the just like yeah, they feel very separate. Also, my first thought on like the arrangement was that like you've got this big snare build, right? With this big ride fill, like then it's kind of like it sounds like it's building up for something big to happen. Then you kind of introduce these main themes of the track. Then a drop without a bass line into a drop where you're bringing in a bunch of things that it doesn't like it created this kind of sense of anticipation that was just really not delivered on by the drop that you'd created. And I think a big part of what that is that if this is the track, then this is just too much for that track. Again, like this didn't really deliver. I like this vocal loop. This is really cool. Very intense ride for the beat. I like it. It kind of it feels like you've got a bunch of material. Not sure of the sources, whether it's like sampled from tracks or like splice loops or something like that, which it kind of feels like you've got enough stuff to create 2 or 3 tracks and you're trying to cram it in, and then the production around it, like the drums and the arrangement and stuff, is not really presenting those kind of themes, those samples, those main parts of the track in the best way. It's not really emphasizing them. So I think there's something, I think I really like that vocal especially. It's super cool. And some of the kind of like funky disco-y kind of the saxophone, this like electric piano, this guitar that's coming in, lots of cool stuff in here, but I don't think it's really necessarily working together that well. I would just kind of decide what you think the main part of the track is. Maybe you've got the vocal and then one of those musical elements, and then you could maybe use another one for the bridge or something like that. I think you kind of need to rethink it a little bit and simplify it, and then have like a beat that is appropriate for the style of the elements you've got. Referencing is your friend. Really nice call and response with the elements here. I think that saxophone came in a bit hot, and I don't know if it's really... I didn't feel like it added to the track myself, but... And that's not because some people just don't like saxophone. I'm a fan.
They revolutionized.
I think the flute sits way better in the track than having the saxophone and the flute. So the saxophone has a lot more intensity than the flute. So it kind of feels like anticlimactic to have that after the saxophone. I think the saxophone is probably unnecessary. So there, just before the drop, when you use this do-it, that works really well. So if I would literally take out the saxophone, just forget it and use it as just like a little fill like that. So here you're going to come from the saxophone and change back to the flute. Yeah, I would get rid of the saxophone. All right, what do we got here? 10, step it up. What am I talking about? Step it up. Step right up. And probably need a bit of limiting on. We've got it. Cool. Very shuffly on the hats. It sounds like you've got like a bunch of loops in there basically that have completely different groove. Something that in pretty much any of the videos of mine that you'll see, if I'm using loops or something, oops, I need a audio track. Let's go here. Okay, so let's say we were going to use this top loop. I would just grab this Command U to quantize it and then add a groove, right? And if I was adding in some hats here, of my own, I would then apply the same groove. And that way you get everything kind of swinging together, and then I'll do the same on my bass line and all that kind of thing. And then you can then intentionally have some things have a slightly different groove, or be more straight, or just like pull them off the grid purposefully so to create a groove. But in general, everything is going to be kind of swinging together, and it's just going to sound a bit more uniformed, and yeah, a bit more smooth, let's say. So it does say work in progress. I think there's a bunch of cool bits in here, but at the moment it kind of sounds like a bunch of things just thrown in the pot, which is cool. That's essentially like how I work when I'm coming up with like the idea for a track. Myself, I normally work in this view when I'm doing that. By the time I would get to making an arrangement, I would have switched, but this may not be made in Ableton. But a big important step of creating a cohesive track is deciding what the point of the track is. What's your kind of hook? What's your kind of theme for the track? And in here you've got a lot of different bits and pieces going on. Like, in order for a track to be memorable, it kind of needs something that you can remember. And in this, like, there's almost too many things to make any one thing that memorable. So what I would suggest is basically deciding what you like the most, a couple of bits, what you think work well together, how you think you could manipulate them over time to kind of create some development in the track and create tension and release in the track. Double down on those, and then develop other elements further to emphasize those main elements. Good luck. Very boxy sounding kick here. And you could do with something like a couple of syncopated tom hits in this groove, just to give a bit of swing. Yeah, really boxy kick. just doesn't, yeah, I don't know. It doesn't sound like a great kick to me. It sounds all right here when the bass line comes in, but I don't know. I'd probably switch it out and try and find something that fits a bit nicer in the track. This piano it's cool, but I think you've got a bit too much low and low mids in there, because you've already got the bass line and stuff. You've already got this quite boxy kick, which means it's got a lot of energy around this kind of low mid area between 100 and 300 hertz. So then you're kind of bringing in more elements, like this piano that's very low mid heavy. So it's just filling up the mix here, but not really adding the energy that it could be up here. So I think that's just like an EQ jobby. You want to maybe like do a bit of this, something like that on the, maybe that's too extreme or whatever, but something in that kind of ballpark on the piano. So just carve out a bit of space for it, or a bit of space for the other elements from the piano. And then you've got the vocal. The vocal should probably be up in volume a little bit more. But cool vocal, iconic. But you've used it in a different way, which is cool. Really nice. I like the new piano stabs that you've brought in there. It really ups the ante. It's cool. But yeah, like I kind of said from the start with the idea of the tom drums, like now with the piano rhythm and everything you've got in there, everything's sounding pretty straight. These new stabs adding a little bit of groove, but like, I don't know, I feel like a bit more syncopation could work well for this kind of track. It could something like some like syncopated snare sounds, like on the every second bar or something. What's happened here? Something kind of happened here. I'm not sure exactly what's been taken away, but it feels a bit more robotic here as well. take off that side chain there, it sounds it doesn't sound good. It sounds a little bit amateur. So I reckon it would just sound way cooler if you just take off that side chain there. If you're probably using like LFO tool or Kickstart or something like that. I do as well, and something that I've started doing always is automating Kickstart on and off in places where the kick is not playing, right? So it just sounds more natural. And with the prevalence of sidechain these days, I have come to find like things like this sound a bit cringy to me, like when there's just like this like really heavy pumping when there's no kick playing. It just sounds a bit, I don't know, it just stands out to me. And that would have so much more power there. It would be like, because you're taking away the transients of those pianos, right? So if you take off the sidechain, it's just going to sound so much more powerful and have so much more impact. Yeah, I really like the way you use the vocal. It's solid. It feels like it's being built up in a strange way. You've got like a lot coming in the low end and the low mids before you've kind of built up anything in the higher end. So you can kind of, you can see on the spectrum, it just kind of looks a bit off. You probably want to create a bit more balance in there. But let's see how it develops. Now you've maybe got a bit too much in there. The highs are sounding a bit harsh. I've released a track with this vocal. It wasn't pitched up though. I think I might have pitched it down like one semitone. Nice bridge kind of section. That's really cool. Definitely worth a try with the pitch up, but I think you might want to transpose the whole, like everything in the track down a little bit to the original pitch of the vocal. Some vocals sound really cool pitched up. I think maybe this one is not. Yeah, getting, like, I think you're just getting pretty hot with the hi-hats, and by the time these rides come in. So I feel like you're probably like the combination of all of your high-end drum sounds is like pretty over the top loud, like in the realms of like 5 dB too loud. Yeah, bit much. Cool. Hopefully you've got some things to go on there. Love me a nice conga. Just in regards to that kick that I was talking about before, I think it was this one that I was saying was boxy. Like if you listen to this one, different style of track obviously, but then like the kick here just sounds so much more kind of, I don't know, just not boxy. It's it's a very nice sounding kick. Really nice detailed high end on the drums. You've got a really cool groove going here, but I'm just starting to get to the point where there needs to be something in this kind of like, I guess it's like 700 hertz to like 4K, like basically where a voice would sit, or a piano, or a synth lead, or something like that. It's kind of working in the track, but like lots of random samples in here.
She could be great. She could be a major star. She is a star. The biggest star in the universe right now as we speak. Goes into the set. The director's got all kinds of things. The director's hot. He's hip. He's here. He's going to be doing all kinds of things. He's going to change the color of the set. I like he's going to get a great idea for a blue. Or change anything. He touches one thing, he's gone. I swear. He's history. I want to meet her. You got it. Anytime. Name the place. Name anywhere. Any street. You got it. Now.
Sick. Yeah, I really want something in like to come in this part of the frequency spectrum. This is where the human voice kind of sits, right? And that's what humans are. That's what our brains like focus on, right? That's everything. It's not like a it's a biological thing. It's not like vocals are cool, vocals are not cool. You don't have to put a vocal, but you need something. Like this is where the hook of a track should sit. And if you kind of your track, if you don't have something in there to keep the listener kind of engaged, then your track can become boring. And this is a really good track. I just feel like it's kind of missing something in there.
He's hip, he's here. He's going to be doing all kinds of things. He's going to change the color of the set. I like he's going to get a great idea for a blue meter. You got it. Anytime, name the place, name anywhere, any street, you got it. Now.
I would kind of like that break to be switched up somehow. I know so when you did this the first time, it worked really well, but then just to do it again feels a little bit repetitive. So if you were to bring in like a synth in this kind of area here, this is also where like a piano or something is going to sit, like so if you were to bring in something like that, you could kind of use that to build up the tension and then do something in this break along with the vocal. Yeah, I mean, it's really solid. I think that's my opinion on it anyway. You may not want to do that, but I think it would make it more engaging. I think you could, it seems like quite a, so there's nothing really happening before this transition. So it just kind of didn't really lead me into this drop. So I think basically you could take this as being how it is, but just try and figure out how to get there in a bit more of an interesting way. So basically kind of duplicate this back here and then figure out how to introduce those elements to get to here in a way that makes it feel a bit more natural. So it's kind of sounding like, by this stage it's sounding really repetitive, like there's not much happening. So here you're taking away this kind of 16th hat. So some of these kind of pads and stuff you could bring in sooner just to kind of keep it interesting, add a bit more of a different texture in the track. I've used this vocal on a track as well, and it gives me, I think the track never came out. I never really got it to work. Maybe it did come out, I don't remember. But it gives me memories of like a frustrating production session. But that's me personally. That's got nothing to do with how someone else is going to perceive it. Yeah, so you've got some kind of melodies and sequences and stuff in here. So I would just try and find a way of getting to that point a little sooner. Because like I said, this is very repetitive up and through here. And that's like a 2-minute section of the track, you know. So this is cool. You can add in the bass here, but I think at this point, when you're kind of building up, you want to slowly be pulling out the low end to create more impact at the drop. Let's see what happens. Right, so it just really kind of like fell through that transition. It didn't really create much impact at all. So let's go here. And yeah, that's going to be probably too much, something like that. You see, it creates much more tension and release. And when you amplify that on a loud sound system, it's just going to sound infinitely better. Is this your track, Ian? One other thing you could do, which is just a subtle thing, but putting a little bit of reverb on your clap, I think would really help for this. And then obviously avoid that. It doesn't sound very finished to just go to a straight kick drum there. I mean, just think if you were playing and you were searching for a new track, and you're like, oh my god, it's counting down and blah blah blah, and then it goes to that, you'd be like, oh my god. But if it was like this, you can keep going with that for a while. No, Ian, I didn't think the track was too long. There's some weird sounds going on your clap. It sounds like you've got a few things layered and panned. They're just kind of making the backbeat sound a bit weird. And it could just be because I'm listening on headphones. But yeah, just the clap sounds a little off to me. Yeah, the clap is really distracting. So I think let me just take another listen back, because I think this is sounding really cool. The bass and the piano and that, especially this vocal, this one. You've got this other like little. It says something like. No, it was here earlier. There. Yeah, take that out. Also another one that I've used in a track that I don't think got released. But it doesn't, I think it's detracting from the track. But let me just have a quick listen here. So this is going to sound harsh, but I think you've got the main parts of your track there, and they sound really good, but your like beat is letting it down. It's kind of like the weakest link in this track. And I think, like, I've done a couple of go to my channel, have a look for something about how to make your drums sound better, or it's like one of the more recent videos that I've done, and just like keep it simple and try and build some new drums around the elements that you've got there. Yeah, I think with some new drums, I think that'll be pretty solid, mate. Okay, so the kick and the bass are not working together for me. There's just no definition. You've got a very subby kick and a very subby bass and a pretty subby kick. I think the kick needs a bit more top end. you're probably better off just to like find a different kick, in my opinion. And I would do that by, hopefully your kick is done in MIDI, and then you can use the hot swap function to just try a bunch of different kicks in context, and find you just hear one when it kind of like slots into place in the track. It'll just sound better. So you got a lot going on in the like low mids. All the kind of new elements that you're bringing in seem to be focused around this area, which just kind of everything kind of seems a bit skewed into the subs. Let's see how it develops a bit, but it's not, it's not terrible. It just kind of, I think there's definitely room for something a bit more interesting up in the higher register in terms of like synths or something like that.
I'm feeling the groove.
There you go.
I'm not dancing. Got me dancing.
Yeah, so you're bringing in more bass elements. So if you can find something that does that, but sounds cool up an octave, I think it will give more to the track. And it doesn't have to be a synth sound. You could maybe use a clave or a rim shot or something like that. Very nice atmosphere from the beginning. Hello, Mr. Mystery Box. Yo, Fernando, the last few tracks you've sent in have been so good, man. This is really good, man. I think, like I've said to a bunch of different people, that like you kind of need elements in different parts of the frequency spectrum, or there's too many elements and things need to be stripped back. I think this is like, obviously it's in a certain style, it's in this kind of deep house style, but I think this is a really good example of a track where there's not too many elements happening, everything's got space, and all the elements, they're kind of just adding up to be more than the sum of its parts. And like here, when you just bring in this conga hit, it's so simple, but you've taken out these other things, and then you're kind of like diverting my attention to this conga sound, which is like well selected for the track. Like, it's just, things don't have to be super complicated to be effective and to work really well. I wouldn't entirely agree with that, Rich. I think the drums are really good for the style. That's so good, Fernando. Like, yeah, you've been dropping bangers in the live streams recently. Let's just keep looking at that. I want to just see if you've been releasing any tracks. So this is Fernando on Beatport. He's been releasing a few things. He did something on Celestial, nice one, Steve Kelly's label. Snakebeat, good label, good underground house label. Keep doing stuff with them. There's some labels on here that I don't know, Fernando. Okay, so you've been releasing quite a bit of stuff, which is good to see. I'm not sure how recent all of this is. My suggestion would be, focus on labels like Snakebeat and Celestial. Keep going, man. And even try and level up some of those labels a bit. Like, that track sounds really, really good. Yeah, I think Alec, Get This Man on 8-bit. I think that might be a bit deep house for 8-bit. They've kind of shifted their focus to a bit more kind of housey stuff these days. Which one was yours, Seth? 3 Eyes? I believe this is my friends from New Zealand. I'm just about to say the number wrong. 1979, I think. I've forgotten. We've got a collaboration underway, and yeah. But anyway, you've got this sound in here which is really annoying me. This like kind of glitchy thing in the background. It's just really distracting. I think you could have the same rhythm, but maybe just with like a conga or a couple of congas or bongos or something like that. Like rhythmically it works, but the sound is just kind of annoying me. Mystery Box is saying that there's the kick transient's very strong. I think there's a rim shot happening on the downbeat as well, so I think it's emphasizing it. I think everything feels really good in this, apart from that bit that I pointed out. It kind of feels a little bit forgettable. That's probably really sounds really harsh, but it just doesn't like, yeah. It kind of feels like it's lacking a hook or something. You've got these kind of like spacey vocal bits that come in the transitions and stuff, but it's kind of like, yeah, it's not really like it's not really grabbing me. Everything sounds cool and like sounds good together. It just feels like, you know, and like a hook doesn't need to be some kind of dramatic thing. Like it doesn't I don't mean it needs some kind of like piano concerto kind of thing in there, or it could just be like another synth like every second bar, like playing one of the notes of the bass line or something, I don't know, or just like a little arpeggio fill at the end of every 2 bars or something, just to kind of like stand out and kind of like everything kind of sounds, it's mixed pretty well, everything kind of fits very well, but there's almost like nothing that stands out too much. yeah, so I think there's something there, but there's room for improvement for sure. Just an extra little kind of like, it's probably something like a simple synth pattern with some interesting sound design or something like that. No Phones on the Floor. That's a very topical track title. Let's see. So you could probably have a little bit of like reverb or something there. Just if you just, is that the, so let's just go like this. It didn't work there, did it? You know, but maybe a bigger reverb. Just do it. Yeah, maybe even bigger than that, but you know, you get my point. Just something to fill in that space. It feels a bit weird when it's just silence there. Dramatic though.
Don't look at the booth and dance with me. Don't.
I think like, so you got this like no phones on the floor bit.
No.
So I felt like would be better if you didn't have that bit and then you just had this.
No phones on the dance floor.
I think the vocal could be up a little bit in the mix, like not a huge amount, just 1 or 2 dB.
Sorry, my friend. This is not Tomorrowland.
It's got cool elements and it kind of works thereabouts for what it is, but I think it's got potential with like there's some, I mean, that "This is not Tomorrowland" line made me laugh, which is like a really strong response to a track, you know, like I think and then you've got this bit where it had no phones on the floor that I mentioned before. And then you've got your synth parts, which sound really good. They fit really well in the mix. You've got some other bits that, like this, but that's really low in the mix. It's not really adding any kind of drama, you know, like. You know, like I think the kind of the arrangement and like the way that you've kind of presented the track and the kind of the fact that it doesn't really develop, it's very linear, is kind of detracting from maybe the potential that like the vocal and stuff has. Okay, so it's. I think you could do a bit more with the drum beat, like build the drums a bit more. The song seems a bit like it took Xanax from Mystery Box. I know, I get what you mean. Like it kind of feels like in terms of like the theme and some of the synths and stuff that you're trying to make something that would be quite peak time, but the beat and stuff doesn't really feel peak time. So, yeah. So I think there's something cool there. I would just like maybe kind of reference some other tracks and see what they're doing to add a bit more power. I think the drums definitely has potential to have more power and more development over the arrangement of the track. Mr. Joe Lana, let's go. So I think your highs are a bit quiet. So the reason I kind of felt like that much limiting might be appropriate was because the highs started to sound much better to me. Especially with this kind of emphasis on the bass line, you probably want to crank up the highs a bit more.
Led you to this place right here, right now.
really nice. I really liked that break. It was cool. I feel like it kind of did come a little bit out of nowhere. Like the vocal could have been somehow introduced in a way in different, earlier in the track. But I like that FM kind of pluck sound.
What's that called when 1 minute you're on one side of the room and the next minute you're on the other, and you're not quite sure how you got there, but you know somehow, some way you travel through the sound and you did some twisting, some turns, and next thing you know you're upside down, and oh man, what's that called again? Whatever it is, I like it. I like it a lot. What's that thing called when you meet somebody and you feel like you're walking on a cloud, and every step you made all your life, wrong or right, led you to this place right here, right now.
Yeah, I think the main thing for this is the mix. The drums, I think the drums could be, I think the drums are cool, but they're just, the clap seems a bit quiet, the hats are definitely a bit quiet, and then you've got quite prominent bass line, and then these quite prominent synth sounds now. So it's kind of like they're just really overpowering the beat. So yeah, I think just getting the mix sorted, I think that's kind of something. I would say that's maybe a theme in some of your tracks, Joe, is that the mix could be improved. But in terms of like the sound design and everything else, it sounds pretty cool. I really like the vocal. It's doing it for me. Okay, so we're basically at time, but let's say do two. We'll do 2 extras. This one's a long one, isn't it? 8 minutes. We'll see how we get on with that. I'll probably skip through it a little bit. But yeah, I was chatting a bit at the start, so let's not penalize people for me talking about my internet beefs. I don't know, is it an internet beef if someone steals your music? Guess so. It's on social media now. It's weird. This looks like the waveform looks like it's limited, but it was really quiet. I would probably, so this, I don't know, is it an organ bass? I would probably take out this organ part and just bring in the vocal, and then you could maybe drop into the organ. think the hats are dominating a bit in the mix. Like those congas and stuff are really cool and add some groove, but the hats feel very like they make it feel very straight.
When you're so shy,
Okay, so
you seem far away.
okay, for an 8-minute track, I'm going to see how this develops, but for an 8-minute track, you're bringing in a lot of stuff very, very, very early on. This is like does anyone know where this vocal's from? I don't think it's a sample pack. I think it's like from an old track. It kind of sounds like Shapeshifters or something like that. I don't know. It's a great vocal, but you're probably going to have issues with it. There's definitely some cool stuff in this. I just feel like it's the vocals, obviously the star of the show, but then there's kind of quite a lot of other bits and pieces, and it's not really like it doesn't feel like all the parts are really working super well together, Andy. See, like in this section, I really like. Sounds good. But these sections where the piano's just kind of by itself. Yeah, I think I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out why, but it's not quite working for me. But also the better edits. The vocals, piano, and organ are fighting for attention. My ears, and they play together. Yeah, exactly. They're not. It's not like they're not kind of. It's not a track like this. The vocal should be the star of the show, and then when the vocal's playing, you've always got other things that are distracting from it. Maybe go and have a look at the original where the vocal's from and see how they did it. It's kind of bugging me. Where the vocal sounds like Catherine Ellis or something. Don't know. It's a very nice vocal. Keisha Cole, Let It Go. I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
I understand why you wanna try, make you stay home late at night. But if you wanna go, he'll be gone, no lie. I can't explain how many times I tried, how many times I cried. And I understand why I take my time, just to come without alibis. Telling me to see the way. I can't explain how many times I tried, how many times I cried. Now I'm getting think I wanna love you right, but he ain't gonna. It ain't way that it's breaking.
Okay, so I'm looking at the title, and it's the Bisono remix. Is Keisha Cole, is she like a famous pop star or something like that? Maybe I'm just out of that loop. But let me just Google it. Let me Google it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So this is her. She's got 7.4 million followers on Instagram. Okay. So in that case, I'm going to say this is probably not an official remix. So you're kind of making a edit, a spot, like a thing, something that would fit on Spotify or maybe SoundCloud, as a bootleg. I don't know, maybe I'm just too old for this shit, but it doesn't kind of make sense to me, because this would be presumably something that, I don't know, maybe it would work on TikTok or something. I don't know, it's not my wheelhouse really, but whenever I make edits or bootlegs or something like that, I'm always thinking about people playing them in a club, in which case obviously this arrangement needs to be rethought. Yeah, kind of like, I think all the elements kind of work well. It just needs a better mix down, I think. And yeah, then decide what you want from the track, and arrange it appropriately. Maybe this is what you want from the track, and yeah. So the vocals really high in the mix. The beat is sounding a bit swamped and muddy, and it just needs to be sorted out a bit, but it works. So good stuff. Let's do one more, eh? Ex Dino Remedy. Dino? Well, that's pretty compressed, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, let's have a look at what your kick drum looks like. Yeah. This is, you've limited the absolute shit out of this, and not subtly at all. Like, it just, everything sounds distorted. So let's see how, if we're going through and I can't really hear what's going on because there's too much distortion, then we'll probably skip it. But
I haven't closed my eyes in days. Your love is keeping me awake. I'm slowly feeling close to me.
too much kick, bro. Yeah, too much distortion, and from the amount of limiting, I think your kick is like about 25 dBs too loud. No, that's a joke. Probably like about 5 dBs too loud or something. But it's really hard to hear what's any details, what's going on, because everything's just so saturated from all that clipping. You know, if you can definitely get tracks to work this loud, but you need to kind of do it intentionally, starting with the mix down and really kind of pushing things in the right way. Yeah, sorry, I just hate I hate listening to things that sound like that with that kind of saturation on them. Okay. There's a couple of things here. I mean, cool, make edits and stuff, but like this has been done so many times. There's an amazing original track, Snap the Power, but like it's sampled so many times and there's so many like bootlegs of it that if you're going to do it, you want to do something really fresh. And the main thing I'll say about the like backing track, whether it's got it's relevant to the vocal as well. Like everything is not working together. Like the piano here doesn't tell me anything about the fact that it's going to be a Snap the Power remix. Yeah, there's a lot going on. Everything just kind of seems to be fighting for space and fighting for my attention. And it's a remix of Snap the Power, right? So you want that to be the main point of the track, right? So literally go and listen to some other. If I go onto Spotify right now, not Spotify, SoundCloud right now, and go Snap the Power remix tracks, and what do we got here? There are literally like hundreds, maybe thousands, which is fine, but go and listen to this. Can you sort by popularity or something on here? Go and listen to some of the really popular ones and see how they've done it. See what they've done. So you're not to like kind of copy what they've done, but to like see how they have reinterpreted the original and how they've kind of like presented those original parts. Because I'll bet money that the popular ones are emphasizing the original Snap the Power, whereas yours is kind of being swamped by all the other stuff that you've added to it. It sounds like a kind of like you kind of made this kind of 90s house rave inspired track and then decided you needed a vocal or something for that and took the Snap the Power sample and just chucked it in there. That may not be how it's happened, but that's kind of how it sounds. So yeah, just try to double down on whatever the point of the track is and make sure that it's always got prominence in the focus. All right, we're going to call it there. Thanks everyone for sending in your tracks. Great session. There was some really cool stuff in here. There always is, really, isn't it? But I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their Sunday. Take it easy, and we'll be back doing this again soon. Cool. Peace.